الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه أنه خرج يوما إلى مسجد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ووجد معاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنه قاعدا عند قبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يبكي، فقال: ما يبكيك؟ قال: يبكيني شيء سمعته من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إن يسير الرياء شرك، وإن من عادى لله وليا فقد بارز الله بالمحاربة. إن الله يحب الأبرار الأتقياء الأخفياء الذين إذا غابوا لم يفتقدوا، وإذا حضروا لم يدعوا ولم يعرفوا، قلوبهم مصابيح الهدى يخرجون من كل غبراء مظلمة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. رواه Ibn Majah. In continuation of our dars of Hadeeth from the book of Muntakhab Hadeeth under the chapter of Ikhlas al-Niyya, sincerity of intention, in the subchapter of the condemnation of Riya, Hadith number 36. This hadith is from Ibn Majah, one of the Sahih Sitta, one of the 6 most authentic books of Hadith. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he narrates that one day he went to the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and there he found Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu sitting by the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he was weeping. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu asked him, "Why are you weeping? What is making you weep?" Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu, he responded that there's something that I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that is making me weep. I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, "Inna yasir al-riya shirk," even a little bit of showing off is shirk, it is a major sin. وَإِنَّ مَنْ عَادَى لِلَّهِ وَلِيًّا فَقَدْ بَارَزَ اللَّهَ بِالْمُحَارَبَةِ. And whosoever has enmity with a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then such a person has gone forth to wage war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْأَبْرَارَ الْأَتْقِيَاءَ الْأَخْفِيَاءَ. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves the righteous, al-abrar, those that are righteous, al-atqiya, those that are God-fearing and refrain from sins and disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-akhfiya, those that are hidden, they don't try to attract attention. Alladhina idha ghabu lam yuftaqadu, they're those that when they are absent from some place, they're not missed, they're not sought out or looked for, they're not missed. وَإِذَا حَضَرُوا لَمْ يُدْعَوْا وَلَمْ يُعْرَفُوا. And whenever they are present in a gathering or present in some place, they're not called out or recognized. قُلُوبُهُمْ مَصَابِيحُ الْهُدَى. Their hearts are lamps and lanterns of guidance. يَخْرُجُونَ مِنْ كُلِّ غَبْرَاءٍ مُظْلِمَةٍ. With the light of guidance, they are saved and taken out of the storms of darknesses. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. This hadith is in Ibn Majah in relation to the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have gone over many of the sifat of Allah, many of the sifat and the qualities of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the various types or the various kinds and forms of iman and also taqwa. What is clear is that the strength of a person's iman will also dictate a person's actions, and the state of a person's taqwa will be seen in a person refraining from sins. and staying away from the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very, very clear in the this is the basic effect that Iman has on the life of a person. And there are numerous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that make this very, very clear. But what is also clear is that those that have Iman and Taqwa in their life, when a person becomes a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are particular things that happen in the life of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the lives of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are given various types of bashara, various types of glad tidings. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them information or inform them about something that may be coming. These come in the form of either dreams, they see ru'ya salihah, true dreams, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them other type of blessings that in day-to-day life will seem out of ordinary. But these are all the effect of Iman. These are all the effect of belief. Iman, it has a very, very distinct effect on the life of a person. And also taqwa, it has a very distinct effect on the life of a person. We have to understand that as insan, as human beings, we have this physical life. This life that we have, that we're very accustomed to. One is the physical life, starting with the jism, the physical body that we're able to see. And there are many things that we can do in this physical sense. Some of these things are very difficult to explain, but they are there. And there are some human beings that, with training and whatever regiments they put themselves through, they're able to push themselves beyond the limit of the average person. As human beings, how many things we can do? We can see, we can hear, we can think, we can speak, we can work, we can use our hands, we can lift heavy things, we can run, we can run at quite a good speed, we can run great distances, and so on and so forth. There are so many things that we can do, and when we take a combination of some of these things, we're able to do extraordinary things. We're able to swim, we're able to climb mountains. So these are the average quality of every human being. Every human being can do certain amounts. Even weights, average human being can lift a few hundred pounds with a little bit training. You go to more extreme training, you're able to lift more than the average person. Same with the speed of running. A person is able to run at a particular speed, or with training, they're able to move that, extend that speed, even run faster. And the same with stamina, a person is able to run so far. With training, they're able to go beyond that. And so on and so forth. You can take any quality of the human being that we have. And all of these qualities, sometimes in the human beings who train and go through training, they go through exercise, they go through particular systems, they do certain things that to the average person seem extraordinary. How can a human being do something like this? And sometimes these are they seem almost outside of human capability. But because the person has been training themselves and trying, it becomes extraordinary how they're able to do it. To the average person, it seems almost impossible. I was shown a person that was able to, with training of the gun, he was using his gun and he had trained his aim. He was able to aim so perfect, he did not miss his target. But what made this person unique is that he would keep his gun in the holster and he would take his gun out and load the gun as a kind of revolver, and he would pull the trigger and then put the gun back. He wasn't like the average person that would stand there and aim and really take their time to hit the target. But within a second or a few seconds, he would take the gun out, load it, and fire. And he had a gun that every time you would pull the trigger, you had to reload and then fire again. But he had become so good at reloading, they put two targets in front of him, a little bit distance apart. He pulled his gun out and shot both targets, and the sound came as if it was one shot. And when they slowed down the footage, he actually shot one target, reloaded his gun, and shot the other target. But he did it so fast, and he didn't miss the target. He hit both targets. But he did it so fast. The targets were balloons. So when you hit the balloon would explode, or at least blow. And that was the sign that he had hit both targets. But it seemed as if he did one shot. Something very strange and ajib. But this is through training. He had been doing this since he was 7 years old, or he was young, very young, his whole life. And now he was 50 or 60 years old. His whole life, every single day, this is all he was doing. So to the average person, it seems almost impossible that how can one person do something like this? And he did quite a few other things that were outside of the realm of human capacity, human capability. They seemed extraordinary. But with this training that he was doing something every single day, this effect came that he was able to do something that the average human being was seeing as almost impossible. And there are many, many human beings in the world that can do extraordinary things. But I'm only sharing this with you because if this is the physical world and we're able to do something in the physical world by doing something over and over, and it has that kind of impact that you're able to train that one effect, then what about in the spiritual world? Coming to the world of the ruh, the spiritual world, what is possible? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ, and they ask you about the ruh, they ask you about the spirit, the soul that keeps you alive. قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي, tell them this ruh is the command of my Rabb. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, and you have not been given knowledge about this ruh except very little. So with human capability, we're able to do extraordinary things in the physical world. What about when you get to the spiritual world, when you work on the ruh, you build the muscles of the ruh, you build the particular qualities of the ruh, what is possible? What are the possibilities? We know those that train their muscles, how much weight they can lift. We know those that train their fingers and their hands, what they're capable or able to do. There are people who are able to do extraordinary things with their grips and their muscle strength. But that is the physical body, this jism. And we know the ruh is far more powerful than the jism. And again, the ruh operates in the spiritual world. And the world of the ruh, the realm of the ruh, the realm of the ruh, is a very different kind of world. That is why in the Hadeeth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we are told particular qualities of some of the mu'mineen and believers, and particularly the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they're able to do things that are extraordinary. In one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us, اتقوا فراسة المؤمن فإنه ينظر بنور الله. We're told that fear the firasat of a believer, fear the inner wisdom of a believer. فإنه ينظر بنور الله, because he sees with the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires him to see beyond just what is on the surface. Our example to those who may be given that gift, like the example of somebody who's blind and someone who can see. Blind people, how much they can see. But you see someone who has eyesight, what they're able to see. So those who have that gift of Iman, that Iman gives them that sight, they're able to see things that the average person is not able to see. And they're able to say things that on the surface will seem very, very strange. the examples that we have from the lives of Sahaba radiallahu anhum, from the lives of the Salaf, from the lives of the great awliya and the mashayikh and the ulama of the past, the scholars of the past, one can be surprised at how this was even possible. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them that gift. During the Khilafah of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, you have to understand that this was when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he left this world, he went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there was the Khilafah of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And after his Khilafah, when he passed away, there was the Khilafah of Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. During that Khilafah, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he relates an incident. He said that one night I was sleeping, and in my dream, he said I went to sleep. This was qaylula. It is a sunnah to have a power nap. This power nap, it is sunnah in the midday, right before the dhuhr salah. You sleep momentarily. You eat lunch, you sleep for a little bit, and then you get up when the adhan of the dhuhr salah is called, and you refresh wudu and go for dhuhr salah. So this power nap, it is sunnah. It is to be done at the zawal, midday, when the sun is right in the middle of the day, right in the zenith of the day. So this is known as the power nap. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said that during my power nap, I was sleeping and I saw a dream that I was going to the masjid for salah. And in my dream, when I was walking to the masjid, on the road to the masjid, the pathway to the masjid, I saw an old woman met me. And he said, the woman, she gave me a basket full of dates. I said, take this to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and tell him that this is a gift. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, I took the basket in my dream. I went to the masjid and I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and I became overjoyed that I haven't seen him for so long. He said, I went and I put the basket, I gave him the basket, and I told him that this was, a woman gave me this and said that this is a gift for you. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he took the dates and he started giving it to the Sahaba. This was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he used to distribute gifts. So he was giving the dates, and he looked at Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu and he took one date and he put it in the mouth of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, in my dream, I could, the date was so sweet. And really, he said that just that action of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was so beloved to me. He said, I really liked it. So I asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in my dream that, can you give me another date? Can I have another date? And he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he just smiled. He said, then I woke up. He said, when I woke up from my dream, I was just surprised that, he said, that feeling came back, time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he said, I didn't think much of it. It was just a dream. He said, so I got ready. I made my wudu. I got ready for salah and I went to the masjid when the adhan was called and I was going. And he said, I was thinking about Sayyidina, the Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyidina Umar, and I was thinking, what a dream I had. He said, as I was going to the masjid, a woman met me. The same old woman from the dream. And he said, she gave me a basket full of dates. Same dates. He said, even the dates look the same. And she said, oh, Ali, take this to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Tell him it's a gift. He said, I was thinking to myself, that what kind of, no problem. He said, I took the dates. And Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, I went to the masjid, I went to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, and I presented to him the dates. I said, this woman met me, gave me these dates, told me to give them to you. This is a gift. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, this was after the salah, he prayed the salah was already done. He said, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he took the dates and he started handing them out to the Sahaba. And he said, after he handed out some dates to some of the Sahaba, he looked at me. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu took a date and he put it in my mouth exactly as I saw in my dream that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had done with me. And he said, I became a little bit surprised that I haven't told anyone this dream. I just saw the dream. Why is he doing? He said, when Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu put the date in my mouth and I ate the date and I became very satisfied. Wow, he said, I really enjoyed the sweetness of the date. He said, so I asked Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu that, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, Can I have another date? So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he looked at me and he said, if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had given you another date in your dream, I would have given you another one. And he said, I became surprised. I said, how do you know my dream? I just saw the dream. I didn't tell anyone the dream. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu just smiled and he continued distributing the dates. So this is what is known as firasat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, that he was given information about that. And there are many other incidents from the life of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, that he would display these kind of unique gift of firasat, of even kashf. He was given information about certain things. And this comes with their suhbah, the fact that they were Sahaba radiallahu anhum, that they were the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And being in that company, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also blessed them with a special type of iman. And in that iman, they were given these kind. This is the effect that iman has on the life of a person. And again, it is not just limited to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. There are many examples from the lives of the awliyaullah, from the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that also they display certain things very similar to this. Sometimes they are given a kind of information that is not common, that is not known. It's not a normal type of information. And it's not even known how they could have known something like this. And sometimes they even doubt the information because of the situation that they're in. But it is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's an incident, I gave you one example from the lives of Sahaba radiallahu anhum. So we will take one example from our Salaf and our great A'immah and Mashayikh and ulama and scholars. There was the time of Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi. Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi, once he was traveling with his servant and they came upon one town and they were trying to pass and go quickly, but they ended up getting delayed. As you know, safar, traveling is travel. So while they were going on the travel, it became late, so they were looking for some place to stay, and there was a man on the side of the road. Back then, it was a different type of system of travel. So this man met them on the side of the road and said that, where are you going? So they told him that we're just travelers passing through the town. So the man, he said, since you don't have any place to stay, come stay with me. I'm a Muslim and he introduced himself. I'm so and so. I have a guest house. Back then, they did not have this type of system of hotels and motels. Sometimes there would just be, someone who would stand on the side of the road and would entertain guests. And this was common amongst the Muslims and the believers to do this, because there's also a sunnah of the Anbiya alayhim as-salam, a sunnah of the prophets and messengers, that they would entertain guests. So he said, as we were traveling, this person came, he entertained us. He said, come, please stay with me. I request that you spend a few nights with me. Don't be in a rush on your travel, and you come and spend. And they went and they spent the first night, and they also introduced themselves to the travelers. So they introduced themselves to the host, and the host became even more happy and said, listen, you are the great Imam Shafi'i, and I want you to stay with me further. Please try to remain a few days with me. I would be honored. So they didn't make much of it. When the host left the room, they just got into the room, night time, the host left, and Imam Shafi'i rahmatullah alayhi, in his heart, he was all of a sudden given this feeling that this host is a very stingy person and a very greedy person. Be careful. He said, I've never met this person. He said, in my heart, this feeling just came. And it was a very intense feeling, as if I had known this person for a long time. It's just this intense feeling came, that be careful what you use. And he said the host came back, he brought food, he brought everything, he made all the arrangements. So he said after the host left for the night, after all the arrangements was done and we ate, and I was a little bit hesitant to take everything. He said when the host walked out for the first night, he looked at his servant, Imam Shafi'i rahmatullah alayhi, he looked at his student who was also his servant. He said, listen, we may stay here tonight, we may stay even tomorrow, no problem. We have some work in the area, we'll do our work. but be careful how much you take. Don't take too much. Just take what you need and that's it. So the student became a little bit surprised. He said, why? This man is so nice to us. He brought us all this. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi said, I know. I just don't feel good. Just be careful. Don't exceed whatever you need. So the student said, okay, no problem. So they spent the first night. The host was very nice in the morning, with, doing a lot of service. They spent the second night, a lot of service throughout the day, taking care of them. The second night time, taking care of them. On the third day, they decided that, now we have to move on with our journey. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, he felt very, very bad inside. He said, this host has been so generous to us, so kind to us. He's gone out of his way to take care of us. And I had this su'ul dhan. I had this bad and evil thought about this person. And it's not appropriate for a believer to have ill will towards another believer. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. He said in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear that all those of you who believe do not, refrain from and keep yourself away, refrain from evil thought or thinking ill of someone, especially believers. So he said, in my heart, I felt really uneasy that why did I think ill of this person? Anyway, they started packing their things and the host came. I said that you are leaving. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi said, yes, we have to take permission and we have to go. The host said, is there anything else that I can bring for you? Anything else I can do? They said, no, you've been a very extremely generous and very nice host and you've really taken care of us. Thank you very much. So the host said, okay, before you leave, give me 1 second, I'll be back. Now, it was a custom at that time that when you're a host, you entertain your guest. It is understood that whatever service you're giving to your guest, that is on behalf of the host. And generally, the host never asks for any payment for that. This man who was the host walked out of the room and came back, and he had a little record with him. And he told Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi and a student that, listen, you ate these many morsels of food, this much food you utilized, this much water you utilized. He basically gave them an account of everything that they used, and he charged them even more than what other places or other people would charge. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi said, no problem. He paid everything. And he paid a little over. He said, don't worry, we paid for this. And when they were leaving, the student looked at Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi and said, how did you know that this man was like this? That he was stingy and he was going to be greedy and he was going to cause this kind of problem. I mean, we could have just gone on our journey. We would not have spent this much money and this much wealth, to spend so much money taking care of just these necessities. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, he thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that at least that firasa, that kashf, that ability to understand what is not even on surface, what is not even clear, being able to understand things before they even happen. He thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that type of iman. So these are some of the unique impact that iman has. And having this type of impact that the iman has, and again, there are many other narrations from the lives of the awliyaullah. Now, it may seem like this is something beyond the extraordinary, but as I explained in the beginning, that if in the physical world, when we human beings train a particular muscle or train a particular skill, we're able to do things that for the average person seem extraordinary. Similarly, when that iman and taqwa, when a person lives his life on iman, lives their life with taqwa, and they spend their time in iman and taqwa, that develops in the heart of a person. And that development of iman and taqwa, one of the qualities that one of the effects that it has is that it also protects the person from danger, it protects the person from harm, and it also brings within this person these unique gifts that are the effect of iman, that are the effect of taqwa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ.